if our emotional state is out of whack or dysregulated, then it makes it that much more difficult to mind what we're thinking. And then that makes it much more difficult to be mindful of our behaviors.
Hello, y'all. It's Dr. Tiffany. We're on Healthy Her After 40, and today we are talking about a topic that is near and dear to our hearts here: mental health, establishing mental health and maintaining mental health. Today we are discussing how to develop and put together your own personal mental health toolkit. And Dr. Adrena and I mean, this is a subject that's near and dear to our hearts. As veterans, we know that veterans have a 72% increased risk of suicide compared to the general population. And I myself have even struggled with that. And I speak to a suicidal veteran at least twice a week. And so today, we welcome a special guest, Donnisha Bear, and she is going to help us to put these things into perspective, and for you and for us to put together our own mental health toolkit. So Donnisha is a licensed clinical professional counselor dedicated to helping individuals navigate life's challenges with clarity and resilience. She has years of experience working with diverse populations. She specializes in mindfulness, emotional well-being, and personal growth. She's approachable and compassionate, and she combines evidence-based strategies, because she ain't just talking, we talking, y'all, with practical insights to support clients in achieving balance and fulfillment. She's also the host of the DLOH, DLOH, a podcast that empowers listeners with tools and insights to prioritize their mental health and well-being. And we'll provide more information about that as well as we move along. So y'all stick around, get some good information. Welcome, Donnisha.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Tiffany and Dr. Adrena. I am grateful to be here to talk about this topic. As you mentioned, it's definitely near and dear to our hearts. And as a mental health advocate, I am here to provide additional information. So I'm excited for today's conversation.
Thank you. So first, we referenced this mental health toolkit. We talk about physical health all the time, right? But what is a mental health toolkit and why is it important?
That's a great question. A mental health toolkit is a personalized collection of strategies, practices, and resources that one puts together to support their mental well-being during challenging times. You can also use it to aid your wellness program. So that could be physical activity or meeting with family and friends. It's just a collection of things that you put together to aid your mental well-being. And it's important because it empowers individuals to take proactive steps towards managing stress, anxiety, and emotional challenges that they may have on a day-to-day basis more effectively. Just like you said, we talk about physical health all the time. You can think of a mental health toolkit just like you think of a first aid kit. First aid kit has medicine, band creams to help the healing of a wound. A mental health toolkit is the same, but for your emotional wellness.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, I know there's a lot of stigmatism around mental health, and probably why we don't seek help, really. There's a lot of stigmatism. So what are some like misconceptions that you've encountered that you can like debunk or, kind of say, hey, that's really not true?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked that question because, as you stated, People are averse to seeking mental health support because of the stigma centered around mental health. And one of them will be much of what we talk about today, the components of a mental health toolkit. One of those are mindfulness practices. And when people think of mindfulness, they think of like yoga and breathing, which are a part of mindfulness practices. However, the stigma is more so that they're, for lack of better phrasing, kind of kooky in nature, or
Mhm.
um, some separate spiritual practices. And there are spiritual mindfulness practices, but a mindfulness practice is actually rooted in science, neuroscience.
Hmm.
We are taking deep breaths because it actually aids our brain functioning to do so. One of the bigger things that I kind of describe to some of my clients is that they've been told that breathing is something that they should do when they're feeling anxious. And most people don't understand that there's science behind taking a deep breath. They just kind of think that it's an act to just calm
Mhm.
oneself down. And there is actual science behind taking a deep breath. So it actually helps to increase your blood flow to the parts of the brain that help our higher order thinking, our executive functioning, and also
Mhm.
it actually calms our physiological nervous systems.
Yes. So
Okay.
you mentioned the mindfulness practice of deep breathing. What other components would you encourage us to have in our mental health toolkits, and how can they be incorporated into daily life?
Mhm. So, apart from breathing as kind of a larger category that can be a part of your mental health toolkit, I think that movement is very important. If there is a magic pill out there, physical activity is one of them, and it helps on many, many, many different levels. I kind of think of physical activity as the bridge between the medical model and the mental health model. You can almost do like a 2 for 1, but it's more than a 2 for 1. If you move your body, you can definitely help to regulate your emotional state. So I encourage that as a component in the mental health toolkit. I also think that doing something that puts intention behind your thoughts is useful as well. And what I mean by that is something like journaling. Journaling can be very helpful because it allows you to literally dump whatever is in your brain out on paper. And that can be helpful because you're writing, which is a mechanical feature that helps your body to kind of regulate some of the things going on in your emotional state. Another thing that I would incorporate, which might get a little bit of resistance, is something creative. So, not everybody thinks of themselves as a creative, but we all enjoy things that are creative. So,
Mhm.
music, listening to music, even having a dance party by yourself can be something that you can incorporate. You can incorporate something like writing poetry or writing a short story or doing affirmations, writing
Mhm.
affirmations, or creating them, as just some examples of creative outlets that come to mind right now.
I remember even like that wave of the mental health coloring books.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah.
So coloring for anxiety or as therapy.
Exactly, exactly. It's an immersive experience. So immersion is just you're hitting on multiple senses, and that can be very healing, and it allows you to regulate your emotions. So when you're coloring, when you're writing, or having that dance party, not only are you doing physical activity, but you're hearing the music, which is in combination, you're hitting multiple senses at the same time.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, y'all. So get out there if your kids are still at home or not. For the holiday time, have some dance offs and
Hmm.
show them what we working with. Because they all think that,
Exactly.
you know,
I'm
that they
gonna
better
win too. I'm gonna win.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So we're gonna
I
win.
love that. I love that idea. I love that. And
Yeah.
then, as we just talked about it, we're all laughing, and laughter is also very healing. So, again, you get multiple things from doing one or two activities.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Dance off, here we come.
Yes.
So with that, everybody's into their phones, into their tablets. Are there any apps or any resources that I could maybe download or go to a website, or we can do to help remind us, or for us to continue to do the mindfulness in our toolkit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that it can be very advantageous for us to utilize our technology since we're already on it. So, something very simple could be setting a reminder to take deep breaths maybe every hour or get up around every hour. That increment of time can be whatever you want it to be, whatever is manageable and realistic for you. But utilizing something like your alarm on your phones can just keep it in mind.
Mm.
There's also most people have heard of this app, but it's called the Calm app.
Oh
And
yeah. Mhm.
it was very popular in 2020, and it still is popular,
Mm-hmm.
but it hosts a collection of mental health aids like meditations, affirmations, um, even like soundtracks and things like that, depending on what you need them for. You can specify if you're feeling anxious or if you're feeling sad. They'll give you some activities to choose from. So I like recommending that app. I also have a couple physical resources that I want to share here. This is a mindfulness card deck, and this is just one version. You can find these pretty much anywhere. So, from the high end to the low end, you can find these, but it's just a collection of cards that you can choose from. And I'll just pull one out just for reference here. And it kind of tells you what the theme is, and then it gives you some words. I know it's in yellow, but it gives
Okay.
you like a bit of a prompt to keep in mind.
Oh,
So
nice.
Excellent.
that's one thing. And then another thing that I have here, which is very helpful since we're talking about where can we start. There's this book here called 5 Good Minutes of Mindfulness, and it's easy. You just need 5 minutes to do it, and it tells you exactly what to do. So I just opened the book here, and we landed on breathing mindfully, and it kind of walks you through how to breathe mindfully in 5 minutes. So this book is by Jeffrey Brantley and Wendy Milstein.
Excellent.
Oh, reduce stress, find peace. Good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good stuff. Now, so we're talking about some ways we can incorporate into daily life. So you have an easy place to start with those two resources, the mindfulness cards, the book, which only requires 5 minutes of
Mhm.
mindfulness per day. So as we talk about busy lives and lots of moving parts in our lives, we also have to prioritize our mental health.
Yes.
Our mental health. When our mental health is in order, every other area of life can operate in a more healthy manner, in a more functional
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
manner. And so we have to prioritize that. And um, these are ways that we can choose to do it. We have to make the choice to prioritize that for ourselves and for our families and for those around us. Right
Yeah.
now,
Exactly.
so when you talk about though the importance of maintaining mental health, why? Because though that's why I think it's important. But why would you think it's important to maintain mental health?
I echo what you say. I support what you say. It's important for, I would say it this way. Sometimes it's more accessible for us to consider how our working on our mental health can benefit other people, meaning we'll be able to support those who we want to support, show up for those who we want to show up for. But it really starts with us. And that's something that some people have a difficult time, that we have to take care of ourselves in order to effectively take care of other people and show up for other people. So for me, what comes to mind is something called the cognitive behavioral triangle. And it's just a triangle that shows us the relationship between our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. This is where mental health becomes key, because we have to do things in order to be pro-social adults. We have to do things in order to maintain our lifestyles and show up for everybody else. However, if our emotional state is out of whack or dysregulated, then it makes it that much more difficult to mind what we're thinking. And then that makes it much more difficult to be mindful of our behaviors. So kind of make this more practical, and to help you all understand even more, if you are experiencing severe levels of anxiety that make it difficult for you to walk outside of the door, if you aren't able to address that anxiety in the house per se, then you could jeopardize your work life. You could jeopardize the date that you had set up. You could jeopardize your friend's birthday party that you said you would come to. And that then has almost like a domino effect, depending on who's in your life. So that friend may feel some type of way about you not showing up at their birthday party. In this example, there are reasons why we can't make it to friends' birthday party. But you know, I mentioned the date. You might not be able to show up to that date, so that can jeopardize an area of your life that maybe you want to prioritize finding a partner. Or with work, you need to be able to obtain resources to take care of yourself. So not being able to go to work is something that definitely disrupts your daily functioning.
Yeah, that's a big one. We got to remember, as women, we don't do that. We take care of everybody else and leave ourselves behind. Not only we do it a lot physically, right? I see patients who don't come to the doctor a lot, but they said they take their children to the doctor all the time. But we have to remember that mental health is the same. You would do it for your child or your husband. If they had a mental health issue, you'd be the first one to take them to get help. We have to remember that we can't take care of those people unless we take care of ourselves. So I think as women, we are probably very guilty of not doing things for ourselves first. We're not, I mean, also, I always don't want to say first, because really not doing it first, you're doing it also. Just like you would take care of your husband, you're also taking care of yourself, and you're also taking care of your kids. But we need to just remember that.
That's right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And one other thing came to mind that I would like to add to that, if you don't mind, especially for the youth. If the young people in your life, whether it's your children or your nieces and nephews, if they can see that you are actively taking care of yourself, then they will literally model that behavior and take care of themselves too. So it's almost like each one teach one through modeling. So it's very important.
Yes.
That's right. Those are excellent points. So friends, if you need some guidance on establishing your own mental health toolkit, or if you are located in Maryland and need mental health counseling, please reach out to Donnisha. You can get in contact with her through her website at the DLOH.com. That will be noted in the description of the video. We'll also provide links for the book and the cards she recommended as well. And her website is a wonderful resource, even if you aren't going to follow up for individual mental health services. She has articles and her podcast resources, lots of information you can get just by plugging into her website. So do that, y'all. We will. So thank you so much, Donnisha, for joining us today. Thank you for these helpful tips. We for sure are going to be incorporating them, and we'll see you next time.
Yes,
And
and thank you
helping her at the 40.
again, Donnisha. Yes, thank you again, Donnisha. And again, have a seat at our table. Come enjoy these talks that we have with our various guests and ourselves. We'll see you later.
Bye for now.